YouTube, hi. Skylines II, Developer Diary, number 12, about sounds and music. Hope that you are well. Taco booty. Taco. Great. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Aswark, I don't have an answer to that question. So I have prepared as usual. This Cities Skylines Developer Diary is 12 pages long. You can see up here it says 1 of 12. What? How? It's about sound. So I'm really curious what we're actually going to be like learning here. Here's a screenshot from the game that you can see. There's a bunch of options for your sound. I feel like a lot of this stuff is going to be like, oh, that's neat, but not like a whole bunch to dwell on sort of thing. All right, sound. City service buildings are the focus of audio in City Skylines 2. Neat. I think this is going to be a lot of what my comments are, is neat. And apparently that's similar, if not the same, as how it was in CS1. But that's fine. Almost all service buildings and their upgrades have unique sounds that reflect the building's functionality, but also provide more detailed information about the building's operational status. Additionally, building sounds now have short, randomized audio spots together with their sound loops to create an interesting and varied building sound. Because City Skylines 2 features much larger buildings, some buildings host a dynamic audio source. Cool. This source reacts to the camera position so that the building audio can be heard properly in every corner in even huge building complexes. Building sounds can also react to the time of day, temperature, and other building conditions based on the building's functionality, and attaching new building upgrades often adds new building sounds. I think that's all pretty cool, right? As a few examples, school buildings are silent during the night, and birdsong can only be heard when the temperatures are above a certain threshold. I think these are cool little attentions to detail. Please define concrete sounds. I did it. That is very pretty. It's a pretty screenshot. Discriminating against winter burbs. Truth. The ambiance. A changing background ambient soundscape is used to create an immersive atmosphere to the city's overall feel, depending on different types of zones, weather, and other occurrences. World ambiance consists of layers that always follow the camera, providing solid background sound for all situations. Changing simulation conditions further affects the ambiance. For example, rain isn't just visible, but adds to the ambiance sounds. So when it rains, you hear rain! Woo! Another cool, I actually do really like this screenshot. It's like, I feel like we haven't seen a lot of like rainy, cloudy days in the screenshots, but you're gonna see them a lot in game. And this just makes me think, hey, it's the UK. Neat. All right, audio grouping. 2 challenges with City Skylines 2's audio were the number of audio sources and the transition between near and far sounds. As a solution, the game now recognizes distance and number of audio sources in relation to the camera. This is called audio grouping, and it is designed to reduce the number of potential audio sources being active at the same time so that you aren't overwhelmed. Oh wait, I shouldn't be reading this out loud. I'm just going to finish the sentence. So that you aren't overwhelmed by the sound of 100 cars as you move around your city. Renash, hello. This paragraph, all of this crap here, is explained in the video that we will watch that was released with this dev diary. And when you are watching the video, you are also hearing the sounds. And I think it provides a much better example of what the heck this thing is talking about. So I'm gonna let the video explain that one. But basically, audio grouping, we're not being overwhelmed, stimulated with all of the sounds. Great. Another really nice screenshot here. Again, I think all stuff that we've seen, but... Oh, actually, this screenshot is a cool example of the roads being built on top of roads, which I don't think we've seen, like, full use of really yet. All right, let's go to vehicles, citizens, and animals. This is probably the only spot where I have, like, actually anything to say. Yeah, Zin, in CS2, you can, like, just place roads physically, vertically, on top of other roads. With very few restrictions. It feels great. It feels like in CS1 you would have needed anarchy to do it. It's good stuff. This is the simple example. I have personally figured out how to make it go almost infinitely because you just basically, you build your landscape up as tall as possible and you build a road there. And then you just keep like slowly removing your landscape, lowering it, and then building a road. And then lower your landscape and build a road. And then lower your landscape and then build a road. And I haven't found a breaking point for that yet. Without the landscaping trick, it seems to be 5, one on top of another you can do. But we're focusing on the sounds today. All right, vehicles, citizens, animals. We have put emphasis on vehicle and traffic sounds as they are a core part of your city. Vehicle audio changes based on the speed of the vehicle. Cool. And a style variation for vehicle sirens is chosen automatically based on the theme. You know, Espen, it's not. The bulldozer volume is nicely mixed. Can you change just the bulldozer? You can't even change just the bulldozer. Unless there's advanced ones, but... So the sirens change with the theme that you've chosen at the beginning, like when you choose what map you're doing. I think this was a cool choice. I feel like they didn't have to like go this far with it, with the theming, but they did. And it's probably, I feel like the effort reward ratio is there, right? Because, you know, in all of my programming expertise, they have to make a secondary sound file that is police siren EU and then police siren NA. And they've done that, and I appreciate that. Finally, in order to align with a more personalized touch for the citizens, selecting a citizen from the city plays a small audio cue. So they mean like when you click on a person, their voice happens. These audio cues reflect the citizen's age, gender, and mood. Similarly, selecting any animal in the city plays a small audio cue related to the type of animal selected. Now, I didn't realize this until right now, but type of animal selected. So far, we've only seen dogs. I wonder if they mean that there are things other than dogs, or do they mean different breeds of dog? Oh, wild animals. I don't remember if there are wild animals right now. There must be. There must be. Yeah, there's boofy dogs, yippy dogs, yes. I've got like a paragraph written here about this. And I wish I had a more like eloquent put together path of thought. I'm gonna read what I wrote and then maybe we can go into that. So the audio cues reflecting the citizen's gender. More effort into detail, which I think is really fun. This does also show that every single sim, like individual sim, is simulated and has all of these details about them attached to it and like programmed and all that sort of thing. I'm kind of like torn on addressing the fact that the voice reflects the gender, but I feel like it's dishonest of me if I don't just like touch on it at least. I feel like if, and I'm pretty sure this is how it is, if like the high voice reflects feminine and the low voice reflects masculine, then that can work for like enough of the population, but it still feels like it divides gender into just 2, right? Like even if you have a person who is female to male transitioned, that person generally will work with a vocal coach to lower their voice, and they'll Generally, some people are pre full transition, some people are learning about it, some people just don't want to fucking do it. So I guess with like a straight gender A to gender B transition, you can maybe argue that it still makes sense, but at the same time, it's just dividing gender into just the two, which I struggle with. It's not the best. Yeah, and Azork, I don't totally disagree with you. Yeah, I think my proposed solution would be to just have different voices and then just not have it be tied to the gender. Because some of the time it would equate to a higher pitched voice equals a more feminine presenting person, and sometimes it wouldn't. But that also feels... I don't know. I don't know what the correct solution is there. I think the reason why I struggle with it so much is because I have seen in so many other ways Paradox be really progressive in themselves. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Yeah. That's a fair point, Outfrost. I can glance past it as long as the game doesn't explicitly display gender labels. Right, and I don't think... Jay! Thank you for the 300 bits. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's not something that I'm like gonna go riot about right now. I think I am potentially a little disappointed just in the fact that they have kind of just made gender 2, but then at the same time, have they? Because we can totally argue it the other way around. They haven't necessarily, they haven't said here. They have not said the words here that a high-pitched voice is feminine and a low-pitched voice is masculine. So maybe when they are saying gender, they do just literally mean like the entire spectrum of the voice sound equates to the entire spectrum that is gender. So I don't know. I just don't know. I would feel disingenuous if I just scooched right on past that and didn't mention it because I don't know what the right answer is. So this is me telling you that it exists, and I wanted to go in and click on a bunch of people and see what the trend is, I guess, but I haven't because this bloody video has been taking so long to edit. So I'm gonna like reminder add myself that. What is it? Reminder add voice check. Excellent. So yeah, I'm not rioting. It's just a little, it's a little. Thank you for listening to my spiel. You're welcome to give me feedback as well. I totally don't mind. Yeah, Outfrost. And I've seen there are games that do that, right? Like there are games that when you are on the part of character selection that is specifically gender, it like plays a voice cue. Like I think World of Warcraft does that, don't they? Or maybe they did. It's been so long. But when you choose like female, for example, you hear a higher pitched voice saying, "I'm gonna go for a raid," or whatever. When you choose male, it does the opposite. So again, it's a city building game. Like it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I don't think it is being presented as that big of a deal, but it's being mentioned. So is it? That's awesome, Jay. That's really good. That's really, really good. So I'm gonna scooch on. Fido here is all bark and no bite. Proud of you, Fido. Proud of you. Okay, music. All right, so this next section is interview style material with the people that composed the music in the game. It is really fun to read and to geek out about the process that kind of like happened to make the music in the game, because they talk about getting like a live orchestra and stuff. But it doesn't benefit us in the way of learning about game mechanics. So we're gonna skip it because I want to play City Skylines on the console. If you want to read it, go read it. This is available on the Paradox website somewhere. There's probably links, very easily accessible. But yeah, that's what all of this stuff is. That's a guy. He's the composer of the music in City Skylines 2. I'm not saying the name. I refuse. So that's what all that is. Yes. He talks about the menu piece. The one thing I will say is, and I think that this came through when I recorded me playing City Skylines 2 for the first time. I think, I remember I got into the main menu and I was like met with the music, and it was almost overwhelmingly beautiful. It really did captivate me. So he talks about the menu music a lot, and I think there's a good reason why, because I do think all of the thought and effort that went into creating the menu music benefited my initial gameplay experience. It was great. It was great. And then there's themes that happen throughout the day, and there's sheet music that comes with it. I asked for more sheet music and I have not received a response, but I would love, because if you look, I know I'm in the way, but there's flute. You can't see it because not all of my shelf is available right now, but I own a flute and I could play it. It would be really fun, but yes, for sure, Azork, for sure. Yep. Okay, let's go to the radio. Speaking of radio stations, City Skylines 2 has 2 radio networks, which are the top category for radio functionality. The networks function as station collections, and the biggest difference is the type of content that they have between the songs. Public Citizen Radio is a public network that leans a bit more towards classical and miscellaneous popular music. The public network plays public service announcements but has no advertisements. Urban City Radio is a commercial network themed more around pop music. The commercial network plays advertisements but does not have public service announcements. What have I said here? So both have eventually obnoxious talking, but I get it for a city builder. I think it does add to the game, like, positively. I think it adds benefit to the gameplay experience. Thankfully you can turn them off. But yeah. Each network has a selection of radio stations under it, which all represent a certain music genre or style. The 2 stations have a host who is the heart of the station and anchor the show. The game also includes a music-only station for those of you who prefer it. Sorry, what? And I believe that is what the kids call Pog. You can pick your favorite station in the radio panel. It definitely feels like radio TLCs are probably coming back. When we look at this, I'll zoom in on it. It feels very empty in here right now, right? Like this is what the in-game radio button looks like, and it feels very empty. I feel like they definitely are going to be bringing back. My guess, totally a guess, is that they're bringing back radio stations. Yes, Azork. Yep, right there. You can tick that off. Yeah. They've had to record many hours of... Yeah, for sure, Outfrost. Yeah. Horse Economy 4. Why are you guys talking about Horse Economy 4? What have I missed? What's happening with the horses? I'm going to continue reading while you answer that question. In addition to playing music, station talk shows, and advertisements, the new radio system is capable of more intricate behavior that can take simulation conditions into account. No, I haven't. Azork. For example, the radio can play news and public service announcements, which are fact-based and informative clips about the events and problems in your city. When a disaster strikes, the player hears a disaster-related radio announcement from the radio, which interrupts the current radio broadcasts. A disaster alarm is also emitted from the early disaster warning system building if the player has the building in their city. Yep, this is good stuff. If you actually pay attention to it, if you actually hear it, it's another way of knowing what's actually going on in your city. Oh, Seta, that's really cool. Hey, you be nice. In CS1, I probably kept the sound on, like the music radio stuff on, 4 minutes max. In my entire 3,000 hours of playing, I've probably had the radio stations on for like 4 minutes. So, yep. Don't rely on Tripper for notifications. This help. I think it does help. I think it really depends on how you as an individual human best take in information. So if you are someone who does well with hearing things and you hear it and your brain like starts listening to it, then yeah, this does supplement it, because I do every now and then like hear it and then I immediately turn it off, because for me noise isn't good. I'm anti-radio because I'm like, I think noise is a huge part of whatever flavor of neurodiversity I have, which I'm gonna start learning more about tomorrow, and I'm really scared about that. But having noise stimuli for me is awful. I hate it. Like, I can hear the music playing right now, that's playing to you guys, and it's driving me up the fucking wall. So that's a personal problem though, right? So then for me, I may rely more on the chirper tweets, for example. Or if there's someone who like visual stimuli is overwhelming for them, maybe they rely on the audio stimuli, or maybe they just rely, like me, on neither and just look at their city when they want to, kind of thing. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Outfrost. I can feel that. So here is, this is what happens when there's like an actual disaster type thing happening. So this is a forest fire properly happening, and you can see the wood value there that I mentioned earlier that is related to the forestry industry mechanic. And then down here you can see a forest fire in progress. Flames are blah 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 blah. Jay, I hope he doesn't say different. What a big poo-poo head. So we hope that you enjoy the new sound and music additions, blah blah blah, or maybe you hang around the main menu enjoying the game's theme. And like I mentioned earlier, I did. I think in summary, we're still gonna watch the video together, but in summary, like the music of the game and the sounds of the game, I think that one of their goals was probably to utilize it to help make the game more immersive. And when I am having a good brain neuro day and I sit here and I do put the sound on and I like wear these headphones that like help me sound in, the music and the sound in the game are phenomenal, like actually great, and they do really bring me into the game, and I really enjoy that experience. It's delightful. Royal, hi. Your brain tunes any speech into, oh yes, Outfrost. I get that. I totally get that. It's tough. Like there are situations I can understand where that can be really, really tough. When there's too many conversations happening at once, I'm a switch. I just turn off. Like if we're at Gunt's family's place, and usually family gatherings there are pretty big, there's probably 4 conversations happening at once between like 2 rooms, and I'm sitting in the middle and I'm like just sitting there happy, hearing that it all exists, but not being able to process it because I just turns off. But enough about me. What about you? Let's go to YouTube. Do you guys see what I did there? Do you see what I did there? I am going to turn my music off so that we can properly hear this. And I'm gonna leave the volume on fully And if I want to talk, I'm gonna pause it so that I'm not interrupting the sound of it, because I think there's like a lot to listen to here. Um, yeah, Jay, totally. Yep, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Let's do this. No. Oh, wait, you guys can't see Lilypad. Why? Oh! And when I said see, I meant here. Okay, we're good. We're good. I fixed it. Ready? Yeah, you're right. You're right, you're right. Also, I want to, oh, it says 1080. What the fuck? I'm going to turn closed captions off. I'm going to replay those first few sounds again just to make me uncomfortable.
The sounds of the city. Inspiring.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Yeah. I love that they I love that they straight up say the word annoying. I think that that shows that they don't have their backup a whole bunch, that they understand that you don't always want to hear fucking sirens all the time. Like it's just a very, very small acknowledgement that not everything is perfect in a city, like, you know. I think they did good. Yeah, I'm not annoying. So I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Annoying.
Yes,
In
that'd
City
work.
Skylines II, a rich and dynamic soundscape brings your city to life. What would a city be without the hum of traffic and people? To ratchet up the realism of City Skylines II, vehicles, people, and animals
Vehicles.
Vehicles, people, and animals add to the audio mix. Cars even sound different depending on how fast they're going. While sirens match the European or North American theme of your city.
Okay, hands up in chat and hands up in YouTube comments if you knew that North American and European siren sounds were different. I only knew that because my biological father was a firefighter. Noise pollution does exist in CS2 as Arc. I think it's not explicit, like this distinction that I'm about to make has never been explicitly stated in a dev diary or anything, I think, but it's a feeling that I get from playing the game. It does feel like it is a fuck of a lot less of a obnoxious, horrible game mechanic. I think those are very vicious words, and I'm sorry, but in CS1 it was so annoying. In CS2, the game mechanic exists, and I'm trying to think of like when they complain about it. I think you just see it in like the households. If you like click on a household, it shows you all the reasons they're happy and all the reasons they're not happy. One of those not happy reasons can be this area is loud. I forget what the words are. But it doesn't like make them physically sick and then they have to go to the hospital. I think it just makes them less happy as a place to live, which makes sense, right? Because like if I lived immediately beside a train station where things were really, really, really loud, my general quality of life day to day would be a little bit less, but I wouldn't necessarily get physically sick and have to travel to a hospital. Yeah, set up fair. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Keep going. Unless I've missed something. Let me just scroll up really quick. Oh, and is this in-game music? I genuinely don't know the answer to that because I don't have the in-game music memorized. If I was a betting man, I don't believe this is in-game music that they're playing like in the video. I don't think, but I can't give you that 100%, but I can give you that on like an 83% confidence. Yeah, right, Royal? Okay, press and go.
Click on a person, and you'll hear an audio cue that expresses their age, gender, and mood.
Yeah, you can see there, at least they've decided to show a masculine presenting Sim with a low pitched voice and a feminine presenting Sim with a high pitched voice. I'm still really struggling on it. I'm struggling on it. Yeah, Royal, I thought, yeah. Fossil would copyright strike them. No. I don't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Click on a person, and you'll hear an audio cue that expresses their age, gender, and mood. Even animals will have something to say when you click. Almost all city service buildings have sounds related to their function and operational status. These sounds can change with the time of the day, the outside temperature, and when it's extended or upgraded. By layering sound loops with distinctive audio spots, city service buildings add variation and texture to the city's soundscape.
I liked that somebody mentioned it being quieter in winter. I don't know, but that's one of my favorite things. That's probably my actual favorite thing about winter. As someone who loves winter, it's my favorite season. I don't know if that's true. Fall's pretty rad, right? But like when you have, it's usually morning. I think I've said this exact same thing. What was it, like Friday? You have early morning, the snow has fallen and the snow is like dampening all of the sound and it's just barely light out and there's like the big snowflakes falling. The best time to be alive in the whole world. I would be curious. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be very curious. So it's another thing that I'll want to test. So let's just listen to some of these again.
Sound loops with distinctive audio spots. City service buildings add
Golf house. Something you've been in Texas forever.
To the city's soundscape. Ambient sounds are more than background audio. They follow the camera, changing according to whatever you're looking at. Move from one zone type to another, the ambient sounds change. When bad weather blows in,
I'm with you,
the
Jay.
ambient sounds change.
100%.
As an emergency unfolds, the ambient sounds change.
Ooh, that sound of the fire crackling is a sound that I have heard a lot. And I actually really like it. It feels very immersive. I like it a lot.
There are 2 radio networks in City Skylines II.
So these
Each
are going to
network
be
features a
in-game
few
sounds.
stations playing music from different genres.
In-game music.
Stations have hosts who talk between
back.
songs and change. There are 2 radio networks in City Skylines II. Each network features a few stations playing music from different genres. Stations have hosts who talk between songs and anchor the talk show if there is one.
Yeah, Jay.
Public citizen radio stations mostly play classical music, but there's a little pop in there too. The best part is these stations are ad-free. Radio stations do more than entertain you. They're designed to deliver news and information about what's happening in your city. These fact-based announcements can help you address critical situations before they get
I'm glad you liked the rain, Jay, because you're going to hear a lot of it.
out of hand.
It rains a lot in my
Of course,
city.
that includes disaster alerts. Whatever's playing on the radio will be interrupted if disaster strikes.
All citizens in the affected area are instructed to immediately move to a safe distance until the situation is under control.
Don't worry if you miss it.
Did that help? Did you guys hear it? So that's so if you're playing with like the radio on and all sounds kind of like normal or whatever, you hear the music stop and then you hear this guy's voice come in saying, "Get the fuck out of there. There's fire." Woo! I'll play it again.
on the radio will be interrupted if disaster strikes.
All citizens in the affected area are instructed to immediately move to a safe distance until the situation is under control.
Don't worry if you miss it. You'll also hear an
haven't
alarm
placed
if
this
you've
yet.
built an early disaster warning system building.
Fuck, that sounds annoying.
To avoid overwhelming you with too many sounds at once, City Skylines II uses audio grouping. This system accounts for the distance and number of sound sources relative to the camera. Then it reduces the number of potential audio sources activating simultaneously.
Yed.
It also switches between close and distant sounds, so traffic on a busy
Yeah.
highway miles away doesn't sound as close.
I know that lots of people have pointed it out before, but Banhammer Bank is kind of fun. They've chosen some funny names for companies. Yed, whoever you are. I think you're great. Yed, have you played Civ? I'm going to be trying it on Wednesday. And I'm very excited about it. And I am going to be dressing up as that guy Steve from Canada, who may sound suspiciously like your Derek. I'm going to keep going.
Doesn't sound as close as that police cruiser speeding past. The immersive audio of City Skylines 2 is designed to enrich your city building experience. Embrace it and lose yourself in a world of your imagination.
What a pure imagination. Anyways, that's it. Do we have any closing thoughts for the YouTube? YouTube, I like the way the game sounds. I hope that you do too. And please subscribe to this channel. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. If you are my 692nd subscriber, I will blow you kisses at my next opportunity